Hi there, I'm Becky from Nomadic Knits, and today we're going to try out a German twisted cast on. The German twisted cast on is a form of long tail cast on, and it's really stretchy. It's great for doing top down socks. If you're, starting at the top of the cuff, this is a fantastic cast on because of the stretch it provides. It's also wonderful for casting on, for ribbing, and anything that really requires a nice amount of stretch. So with any long tail cast on, we need a long tail. And to get an idea of how long of a tail you need to cast on, what I like to do is to wrap my needle 10 times with the yarn. 10 just makes it easy to divide your required amount of cast on stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that amount of yarn right there is approximately what we need to cast on 10 stitches. Now let's say that our project requires 30 stitches. So we're going to double it and then triple it. And that should give us approximately 30 stitches. I usually give myself a little extra wiggle room because I don't enjoy playing yarn chicken. Now you can either tie a slip knot here, if that's your preference. I'm just going to go ahead and place this over my needle like so. And I usually twist it around like that. And we are putting our fingers through this V here. Okay, these two fingers are going to go through there. And then I'm going to turn this over so you can see what I'm doing. I'm grabbing the yarn with the rest of my fingers. So these fingers are through the V. Now we can pop them open so your pointer finger is pointing away from you, your thumb is pointing toward you, and just rotate your wrist to the left. And that puts you in this slingshot position to create the cast on. So I keep my pointer finger of my right hand right on top of that yarn so you don't have to worry about it slipping off of your needle. And we're going to go under these front two strands of yarn, and then we're going to come down into this loop. We're going to wrap around this back strand of yarn, and you'll see that my thumb is in a different position now than it originally was. It was originally like this, but we're bringing the thumb down to untwist the yarn so that we can bring that back strand right through there, dropping it off, and then reinserting it into the yarn. And when you snug this up, as with any cast on, you don't want to really tighten it down. You're just taking the slack back out of the yarn. So I'm going to move my finger up here so that I'm holding that stitch in place. And let's do that again. So we're coming under these front two strands and bringing the tip of our needle back down here. And as I do this, my thumb comes down, which makes it easier to grab this back strand and bring it through that loop right there. It can be a little tough to get that motion down at first, but stick with it because it's going to click, and then it becomes this very rhythmic, soothing cast on. At least I think so. All right, let's take it slow again now that you've tried a few of these. So we're going underneath both of those front strands and down through that hole. Our thumb is dropping, but we're not dropping the yarn yet. Around the back and down through that hole. Under both, down through the top. Coming back to grab that back strand and down through that untwisted loop. under both, down through the top. Your thumb drops as you grab this back strand to bring it through that loop. And each time, you're going to let that yarn drop off the thumb and simply reinsert your thumb into that slingshot position. Now what's happening on the top up here is each time I make a stitch, I'm moving my finger forward. And my finger is no longer, at this point, because I'm able to hold these stitches with these fingers, I'm using this finger as a kind of spacer. And I do this with all of my long tail cast-ons, not just the German twisted. And what it does is, as you're casting on a new stitch, it automatically provides a little breathing room for your stitch. So every time that I finish a stitch, my finger lifts up and goes in front of it and creates this even spacing. And I believe I first read about this in a Patty Lyons book. I'm pretty sure that that's where this little trick came from. And it took a little bit to get into the habit, but now I just do it automatically, and it really makes a big difference when you're casting on and you don't want to have a tight cast on, which is pretty much always. So now you can see what this cast on looks like. I hope you'll give it a try and let me know what you think. Happy knitting!